Hey guys, so it is February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, and that is about 9 weeks before our last frost date. So it is the perfect time to start some of our other vegetables that we would like to get going and that I would like to have a head start on, so I can possibly sell some starts to maybe some of the neighbors, so they're not buying all their starts from the big box stores. Anyways, so it is about between 8 to 10 weeks, 9 weeks to be exact, and it's really kind of drizzly, and it thankfully is like 50 degrees here, so it's kind of warm, but it's like hazy, so it's whatever. But I like to plant my seeds outside because otherwise I make a huge mess inside, and everybody's inside, so it's kind of loud. So I am trying a new method, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do a seed snail. I've heard some good things about this. It's a really good space saver, and I hope you will follow along with me and we can do it together. Oh gosh, nothing beats afternoon coffee. But what I first want to talk to you about is what seeds I'm starting. So just for this video, I have so many seeds to plant. But for this video specifically, my favorite thing to grow ever, like just ever, are tomatoes. So tomatoes are just, there's so many varieties. I do this every year. I grow probably 40 different varieties. I end up with hundreds of red solo cups scattering my driveway because I can't say no. I have to plant all of them because I think that somebody will like to buy some of these seeds and some of these plant starts, because you're not going to find these types of varieties, these heirloom varieties, in the store. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you a couple of varieties I like though. It's starting to get, ugh, I don't know what's happening. Sorry. Starting to get a little too hazy though. So there's two different types of tomatoes you can plant. There's determinate tomatoes and there's indeterminate. Easy way to remember that is determinate has a determined height. So they will only grow to maybe 3 or 4 feet tall, and then they will set out all their fruit and then they will be done. If you time it right, you could do a very early start of a determinate and puts out all of its vegetables, or sorry, just puts out all of its tomatoes, and then already have another determinate variety growing inside, or you know, just out and about, and then you can replace that, and so maybe you could get 2 crops in the same season. That's one idea. Another thing about determinate varieties are, not always, but generally speaking, a lot of them are paste tomatoes. So a lot of the ones that you want really thick skins and not a lot of like all the gooey seeds inside that you might see on sandwiches, those types of slicing tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. These are the ones that have really thick walls. They're dense and they're awesome for making sauces and soups and canning, etc. Not always, but just kind of, mostly. So now you have your indeterminate tomatoes, and those grow to an indeterminate height. They could grow, I mean, they could grow for a long time. I've seen them top 12 feet if you give it a high enough trellis. And that's the way I grow my tomatoes. I grow them vertically, that way I can maximize on space. Tomatoes are a vining plant, so if you just left them, they would vine all over the place. And everywhere the stem touches the ground, roots would grow. And this would just continue, almost like you would see a pumpkin, but the same thing happens to tomatoes. So I grow mine vertically, up cattle panel trellises, or also wooden lattice. You can use almost anything. Yeah, it's starting to rain. That's fine. That's fine. And that's how the best way to kind of grow indeterminate tomatoes if you don't have a lot of space and you do want to grow a lot more tomatoes. That car is going fast. It's this neighborhood sometimes. And a lot of the times your indeterminate varieties are going to be the smaller ones. Well, some of the bigger ones, the big slicers like Cherokee Purple or Mushroom Basket. These are indeterminate varieties, but also there's a lot of the cherry tomatoes are indeterminate, which are my favorite anyways because I like to pick all the cherries, and they make great sauce too. But they have a lot more water content, so it takes a lot more of them to make a larger quantity of sauce. I eat them fresh and I give a lot to the chickens. So I'm going to show you a couple of varieties I'm growing. I don't even want to tell you how many varieties I have here because I just can't stop myself from buying tomatoes seeds when I see a new variety I like. And I'm going to have to plant all of these. They're going to start getting wet. So let me show you. Okay, so I'm going to show you my favorite indeterminate varieties that I've grown for the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. And obviously these are my favorites and I'm regrowing them every year because they do a great job. First one is the green zebra. And some of these seeds are from Baker's Creek, rareseeds.com. They have awesome seeds. I also have a ton that I bought this year that are new that are from M.I. Gardner. And M.I. Gardner is a small, I don't want to even say smaller, but I feel like they haven't been around as long. Luke is just an awesome guy that started a gardening channel, also M.I. Gardner, and he's got so many tutorials, and I have learned almost all of my gardening from him because at the time he is in Michigan and I was in Indiana, and we had very similar growing seasons, so it was kind of nice. So green zebra, I love it. It's kind of just a tiny bit tart, but it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, all of my seeds are getting wet. Stand by. Okay, I got some of them covered up. So I said green zebra. The next one is sunrise bumblebee. This is a beautiful cherry tomato, and it's so prolific and it's so sweet, and it's just so beautiful. So I grow this one every year. There's also this, and I also like that they're bumblebee variety, but they also have a purple bumblebee that's really good too, and a couple other bumblebees. Let me wait for that car to go by. Okay, if you're looking for a big tomato, pineapple is always a proven winner. These are huge, they're beautiful. I love pineapple tomatoes. And along with that is the mushroom basket. I love all the little folds, and really makes it look like a true heirloom, or what you would kind of think of as an heirloom tomato. So it has all the little folds. It's very red, very delicious. That one's not too big like the pineapple. The pineapple gets really big. Same thing with Cherokee purple. I saved my own seeds. But these do great. Cherokee purples, they're always a staple. Okay, and when it comes to more of the cherry tomatoes, I already told you the bumblebee varieties are awesome, but this is probably one of my favorite tomatoes right now. It's the blue cream berries. This is so sweet. It has so many literally berries, tomato berries, I would call them. And they're a beautiful color. And even when you remove the little green part, then it's yellow underneath and it makes it look like it has a star. So these are so fun to eat. They're very sweet. I just love them. And then always the pears. I've got chocolate pear and I've got yellow pear. Those are so sweet and always very prolific and really yummy for salads. Brad's Atomic Grape. This is a really cool variety to grow. Grape tomatoes are bigger than cherries. So these ones are actually probably a couple inches long, and they just have stunning colors between the red and the green and the yellow and the purple, and they're striped and they're just gorgeous. I also have Sweetie. These are kind of your basic cherry, and they are just so good. And then Spoon. I can never not have Spoon tomatoes. Do you see how tiny those are? These are, again, so prolific. I had Spoons all the way up until even after our first frost of the season. They just kept growing and growing and growing, and I couldn't stop them. So those are my staple indeterminate varieties. Now when it comes to the determinate varieties I like to grow, there's Amish paste. This is actually an indeterminate. I don't know why I said that. But it's a paste tomato and they're huge. So that's always a good one to grow. I've got your classic Romas. I've got Martino's Roma. That's a really nice one. Black Beauty, you wouldn't think, but this is a determinate, and it's a really solid black tomato. It's really cool. Principe Borghese, my #1 favorite determinate variety. It says determinate. It's an Italian heirloom. They're bigger than cherries and the grape tomatoes. They have, I don't know, they're a little bit bigger than the grapes, but they're more round, and they make really good dried tomatoes, like in oil and stuff. Sun-dried tomatoes, that's what I want to say. But honestly, these are just, they've always been the best. Their leaves are a little bit different looking, which is always just more fun for me. And yeah. Okay, I'm growing so many varieties, so I'm gonna skip the rest of them because I have a ton from In My Gardener too. Well, I love In My Gardener. Let me just show you what I ordered from him, and I haven't tried any of these, but they look great. Quadro tomato. This blush tomato, that one looks really good. Kind of looks like a bumblebee. A yellow plum tomato. Peron sprayless tomato. Some of these are semi-determinate, so I just kind of wanted to see how those are. Gobstopper tomato. I mean, look at this one. How could you not grow it? It's gonna be fun. New Yorker tomato. This is another one that has very sweet and acidic flavor balance. Persimmon tomato. I really like orange, so these ones look really good. Ukrainian purple. I love the purple tomatoes. And then Mexico midget. This is actually one I have grown before, and it was also really, really good. Had lots of tomatoes, and it was indeterminate, but it was still a dwarf variety, so it worked really well in containers. So this is a really good one for containers. So in order to make this seed starting snail, you're gonna need the snail part. This is just foam cushioning. I got this from Menards. It's 40 square feet, so it's 12 inches from here to here, and then it's 40 feet long. I'm also gonna cut this in half because we don't want our seed snails to be a foot tall. That would be way too much. That's a big snail. So anyways, this is what we're going to use. This was under $12, and I think that's a pretty big, that's a pretty good deal because of the amount of space that we're going to be saving and not having to use all those sometimes flimsy plastic containers that honestly you may get 2 seasons out before they start getting a little too damaged. So we need our snail, need scissors, need a marker because we do not want to forget to label what we're growing. That is terrible. And then we need soil. I use, doesn't matter, like I always like to use organic, but this is a raised bed soil. I don't use a potting mix. They're usually $4 or $5 more expensive. And I garden for, I don't know, for food to be a little bit cheaper. So I've never had a problem with growing in this kind of raised bed soil. It's still pretty fluffy. There's a couple pieces of bark. It's fine. It does its job. And then you need a tray to put your snails in. So these are called 10 by 20 trays. Let me sit back so you can see them. These ones do not have holes in them, so you want one that does not have holes. No holes, or you will get water everywhere. But there's a little bit difference. This one is harder, which is nice, but it's very shallow. This one is not. It's more flimsy, but it's, you know, it's thicker. I like to use this one for the seed snail because they're going to be taller, and this is going to keep them all kind of packed together. So I'm going to use the taller one. I would go for the taller one if I were you. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to lay it out, and we're going to cut it and go from there. Okay, so this is my lovely table I use outside for everything. But first we're going to take this big old sticker off. Try not to rip it. That's okay. I don't want to start off on the wrong foot, so I'm just gonna cut this to be done like that. Okay, so first I'm gonna start with rolling it out, and I'm gonna start off with seeing what it feels like when it's 3 feet long. So I already measured this, and from here to about right here, there we go, is 3 feet. All right, we'll put this away for right now. Now, because this is too tall, I'm going to do my best to just cut it down the middle. Like that. So now we have our first thing. Now you might want to put something on the edge to keep it down if it's too windy. I'll take my coffee on one side and this on the other. We are gonna first sow our sunrise bumblebee. So I'm gonna see, like, this would be how it comes out. So I'm gonna do sunrise BB, and we'll see what that looks like. So the first part I'm gonna do is messy, but we're gonna put our soil down, and we want to leave a little bit of room at the end. That way when we roll it up, some of the soil is gonna get pushed out a little bit. So we're just gonna leave a little, like 2 inches at the end, just in case that happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and put soil over everything and then give it a little water. Not putting our seeds in yet. So I'm gonna move this tray and I'm gonna grab this end. I guess I can move my coffee now. And I'm gonna fold it over and I'm gonna just roll this baby up like a cinnamon roll or like a snail. We're rolling, we're rolling, we're rolling, we're rolling, and we're all the way to the end. And look, it's got what I got on there. So now we're gonna take this and we're gonna plop it in our tray. You can use a piece of tape here. I'm going to try using rubber bands since it's so wet outside. It's raining right now. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna use 2 rubber bands. That seems to do an okay job. Now you can see it still shows the sunrise bumblebee tomato on the outside, although it's kind of wet. I'm not sure if this will fade, so it might be worth it to stick, sorry, one of my coffees, one of these bad boys in there and have it like that. But now you can see the snail part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm kind of just gonna pat it down a little bit because we are going to plant our seeds in this, and then we're gonna top it with a little bit more soil, and that's how we're going to start all of our seeds for this guy. So let's get doing that. Now it's certainly raining a little bit harder, so I got to get this done. The wind's picking up, but here's my tomato seeds. There's about 20 there or so, and I'm just gonna kind of space them out every couple inches and kind of just put them in there as long as I can without the, because it's wet, so it's kind of hard to get these guys off my fingers. Come on, go in there. Okay, do not plant outside in the rain. I don't know what I was thinking, but it had to be done. There's a couple of spots that I missed, so I'm just gonna kind of, there we go. There we go. I don't really care if I use all the seeds because I can just save more seeds from when I grow my crop. So it looks like they're all pretty much scattered in there. I'll show you a closer look. You can see how they're all scattered in there. And now all I'm gonna do is top them with a little bit more soil. Give them a little rinse of water and then put them in this tray. You want to make sure you don't do this while these are in the tray because you're going to have soil everywhere. So we're just covering them up, kind of pushing them into the little coils of the snail. And then we'll give this a spark little mist, and this one little, I don't even know how big this is. I mean, this is probably only 5 inches, 6 inches tall, 5 inches wide, and this has probably got about 25 seeds in it to start. So that's our snail pretty much. Put some more. I was practicing on my marker. Sometimes I don't know which markers work for me to use to label. All right, there we go with that. Give it a quick little water. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And there we go. We got our first snail for our tomato seeds. And I'm gonna do more, and then these are gonna go inside to germinate. Slip one of these guys on. You really need 2 hands. And there you have it. This will keep the seeds moist so you don't have to water them again. You can just keep an eye on it. In a few days, hopefully that you will see some of the seeds starting to sprout. And then we'll just go from there on what we're gonna do next with these seed snails. So you can just keep, and I'm gonna fill this whole tray up. It's just raining right now, so I'm gonna do that part tomorrow. Hey guys, so it's been about 8 days since I filmed earlier about how I was starting a seed snail, and I want to give you an update. I did finish all of my seed snails over the last couple days because we got about 8 inches of snow, but I do want to show you how these sunrise bumblebee tomatoes are already doing. You can see, look how amazing they look. Whoops, now we're dropping stuff. So there's probably, I don't know, I think I said there's probably around 20, 25. And these are going to continue to grow. I have them under the lights now, and I'll show you the rest. I probably have 300 or so tomatoes planted. Now, number one tip for new gardeners is always plant more than you think you need, because I like to sell my extras, and then worst case is I like to give them away for free because I like people to grow their own gardens, and I love giving people the confidence to grow something even when they say I don't have a green thumb or I have a black thumb. Like, you could grow something. These tomatoes are perfect for you. So let me give you a quick look at some of these other ones. So here are most of my seed snails. Now, in this one, I only have the sunrise bumblebee, and these other ones, I grew multiple varieties. So there's a good chance there's probably about 30 tomato seeds or so per these giant ones. I have them all labeled, and I am gonna cover them. So you can use a plastic thing like this, and that way it will keep the moisture in. You can see I did it with one little bag here, and see how all those little water droplets and condensation are forming? Sorry. That way you don't have to water these, and these are gonna create a warm, moist environment for your seeds to sprout, which is exactly what happened here with these wonderful seeds. So I can't wait to continue growing these. Good luck. Because I've got more stuff growing down here. Like, here's my artichokes. I've got chard and onions. Like, look, I don't know if you guys were with me when I did my onions. None of these sprouted. All these seeds were bad. And I got them from a seed swap. So I think they swapped very, very old seeds because these ones did just great. So I'm gonna have a lot of Pompeii onions, which will be fine, and artichokes and chard, but none of these other onions worked. And then I have a lot of my cabbages, and I only planted a couple here, but so that is the seed snail. As always, thank you all for supporting me and watching my videos and subscribing. I really love having these little tutorials and helping other people grow. So if you want to continue to learn and keep up to date with these seed snails and other helpful tips and tricks we might be able to learn along the way about gardening and homesteading, rabbits and chickens and kids, oh my, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like and share this video, and I look forward to growing more with you. See ya.